Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ruach Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone of all, and Shalom to our community, pushing this word around the globe and in faith and in truth. As always, I'd like to start by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites, the real Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, and West Africans predominantly. But you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other nations, because Israel has been scattered amongst all people throughout our various captivities. However, if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible named Jacob, then you too are an Israelite, no matter what you may look like, because the book of Numbers chapter 1 verse 18 states that Israel has been scattered amongst all people, but your lineage is determined by the line of your forefathers. That's Numbers 1 and 18, because they called their names by the house of their fathers. Yeah, so it's all about your nationality is determined by who your forefathers were. Okay, not what you look like. So I want to do another lesson because I've been meditating today, well, last night and today, upon a situation that happened at camp yesterday, which I went into in my last video. We had this man come up to the camp who on the surface would have appeared to be a, humble and nice and benign fellow, if those are the words to use. But something was troubling me in my spirit about this encounter, because I didn't feel right. And after camp yesterday, I was speaking to a few brothers about this, because what it is the subtlety of the serpent. You got to watch these people, man, because when they come up to camp, like, something I realized from yesterday's encounter is that not everybody who comes up to the camp to listen and ask questions is doing it in sincerity. A lot of people are going to do it with subtlety. Now, there's many different outcomes that can come from such a situation. Some people come up and they just want to scoff and cause contention. Okay, that's to be expected, because we know through the prophecies that scoffers are going to come in the last days walking after their own lusts, saying, actually, let me get this in scriptures. Bear with me, just let me quote this and pull it out. Yeah, this is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 3. I'm going to pull it up on the screen. This is the book of 2 Peter chapter 3. I'm going to start from verse 1 for edification's sake. It says, "This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance, that ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Saviour." Here's the point. "Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last day scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, Where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. For this they are willingly ignorant of that by the word of the Most High the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. But by the heavens and earth, now the same way are kept in store, reserved unto fire, against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men." So, the point of this lesson is that what I learned yesterday is that even though a guy may be standing there and he may be using nice, polite words like, like the guy yesterday was saying, I can see your parents have raised you well, you're very respectful, and all this kind of stuff. He was using these flattering words, but in his heart he devised mischief. Yeah, because his actions revealed him. Even though he was coming with this all meek and mild-mannered spirit, and that the elders of the camp were dealing with him accordingly. But the more I reflect on this situation, I realize the more that these are the people you've got to watch even closer, because these guys, they have malicious intent, but they're very subtle with it. So they'll come with soft words, words that are smooth as honey, trying to butter you up on all this kind of shit. But really, in their heart, they're trying to throw you into a pit or set a trap for you. You know. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because after I was meditating on a situation, I was thinking about it heavily because I didn't feel right in the spirit yesterday. Because I fucked up. See, because this is the thing. You got to remember that when these guys come up to the camp, they've got an agenda, and it's not always to, listen and learn and get edified. Sometimes it's there to cause strife and contention and arguments. But what does a demon want to do when it gets you into an argument? It wants usually to get you to go off. Like, let's say, for example, someone came up to the camp and they were causing all kinds of contention and they were putting hands on brothers. Well, it might cause a situation where the brother has to defend himself, and then it gets into an altercation, maybe a physical one. Obviously, Lord willing, we pray it doesn't happen. We try and deal with all things spiritually. But what's the demon trying to do? The demon's trying to get you to go off. Yeah? Now, the funny thing is that sometimes when these demons come up, it may look like they're speaking to one brother in the camp or whatever, but that demon might have been sent just to try and test you. You know, so you've always got to be mindful of what you're doing in this truth. You know, because the scriptures say to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. And you've got to watch your steps, because that demon might be looking like he's directing all his energy towards someone else. But then it may end up being a situation where it causes you to go off. And then who's going to be the one in the wrong? You. Now, it's not necessarily like, you get into a fist fight with someone, but you might end up saying something that you don't really think about saying, and then you realize, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. Which was my personal case yesterday. I should have probably kept my mouth shut, to be honest. But he drew me out, and I said something that I thought, hang on a minute, it's luckier. That wasn't really fit for me to say. But he got me to go off slightly, which is why I made that video yesterday, and why I'm making this video now, because when you do go off, you're going to feel convicted in your spirit. And that's how I was feeling yesterday. I'm thinking, nah, man. I've got to rectify this and humble myself, and pray for forgiveness from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Now, it wasn't a major thing that I went off on. It's just, as I said yesterday, when the dude was asking me if I'd read the Quran, I said yes. And as I said, I've read the vast majority of it. But there's a few surahs that I haven't read because I actually forgot how far I got with it. And in saying, oh yeah, I've read it, that means I was going off, because that means it wasn't true, because it was a lie. So therefore, in order to correct that, I've gone back into it, and I'm making sure to read those last few surahs that I didn't, so that I won't fall into that pitfall again. And Lord willing, I'll be doing more edifying videos, breaking down many of the major points where these Muslims don't even know the scriptures which they claim to believe in so heavily, which, Lord willing, will be a good thing, because it will make me stronger in terms of this aspect of my knowledge, because obviously the Lord gives every man his measure and they've got to work with it. So this was a part of my lot to study this stuff, because as I said in yesterday's lesson, when I was coming into this truth, I used to sit down diligently with the scriptures and read like side by side and try and compare the text and see, where does this deviate from what the Holy Bible says? The KJV 1611. And I've done that with many books. For example, the so-called Book of Enoch, which isn't the real Book of Enoch, the one that's out there at the moment. Done it with that. I've done it with, what they call the Forgotten Books of Eden. Done that. Done Book of Jasher. Did the Book of Jubilees. All kinds of stuff I was doing it with. And the final one I was doing it with was the Quran. But once I realized, hang on a minute, this is bullshit, man. That's when I kind of, in disgust, tossed it aside and never went back to it. And that was many years ago. So I did actually forget that I didn't read those final few surahs, which I will do. Like I said, I have been doing, so that I can, really expose certain things, because these Muslims, a lot of them are liars, man. Actually, not a lot of them, they are all liars. And I'm going to bring this out through this lesson that I'm doing right now. Because as I said, the more I thought about this guy, because he's just on my head. Because obviously I was thinking to myself, did I go off in what I said? So the more I was thinking about his actions and his behaviours, the more I got some sort of spiritual clarity on what it was exactly he was doing and what his whole agenda was. And it wasn't good. It wasn't good, even though he come up and talk nice things. Like, for example, there's one point where he's saying, oh, I'd love to, one day I'll come down again and maybe afterwards we can go for ice cream. And, I've got a friend who owns this place where they do desserts and ice cream. So maybe we could go there and I could treat you brothers. We can all sit down and we can all talk and maybe I'll be even to get it for free. Now, on the surface, that might seem like a very nice thing for someone to offer. But really, it was the subtlety of and craftiness of a deceiver, because he's really not there to learn. He's there to try and pull you out of the truth, and get you to be friends with him, and he's such a nice guy. He speaks well of us. Here we are, fucking grown ass men, most of us, over the age of 30 or whatever, and he's coming up talking about how I could see your parents have raised you very well and all this kind of shit. He doesn't know a thing about where we come from. He doesn't know a thing about what our parents did or didn't do to us. Some of us didn't come from very good homes. Even though we'll give honor and reverence to our parents, some of us came from hellish home situations. He doesn't know who we are. But how are you going to go up to grown ass man and say, oh, I can see your parents raised you very well? That shows kind of disrespect in a sense, because it's not really, you don't really say that to another grown-ass man, a man who might even be older than you. It's kind of really weird-ass things to say. But let me get some scriptures out on what I'm saying and why you got to watch out for people like this. So I'm going to pull up, what we got here? Galatians 1. No. Put out later. That's what we've got today. I'm going to go into 2 John 1 and verse 9. This is the book of 2 John 1 and verse 9. Oh, I'm going to read up because there's meat here. 2 John 1 and 6 I'm going to start from. And this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment, that as ye have heard from the beginning, ye should walk in it. For many deceivers are entered into the world, who confess not that Yahushua is come in the flesh. This is a deceiver and an antichrist. Now that Muslim man who came up to the camp yesterday, this is exactly what it was. And that's why my spirit was kind of like, something ain't right, man. Something ain't right, man. Because, he was there when I got to the camp. He wasn't there for all that long. But afterwards, in my spirit, I was thinking, something ain't right, man. Something ain't right. And this hits the nail right on the head, yeah? 2 John 1 and 6 again. And this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment, that as ye have heard from the beginning, ye should walk in it. Here's the point, verse 7. For many deceivers are entered into the world, who confess not that Yahushua HaMashiach is come in the flesh. This is a deceiver and an antichrist. So all you people who follow in Islam, you're deceivers and you're antichrists. Yeah? Because when you talk about your so-called Isa in the Quran, you ain't talking about Yahushua. You're coming up with some other doctrine of some other character who you're denying, first and foremost, that he's the son of the Most High. You're even denying the fact that he was crucified. So you're nothing but a deceiver and an antichrist. So how the fuck can we fellowship with you? We can't fellowship with you. Could two walk together lest they be agreed? No. We're not supposed to have fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. But yet you're coming up there, be like, oh yeah, maybe we could go for ice cream. And what I've learned is that what was he saying, man? He was saying what I've learned is that even though you disagree, if you have mutual respect, you learn to come to an agreement. Ultimately, he's talking this kind of madness, man. We ain't about that fucking shit, man. We ain't about that shit. We're about representing the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. No ifs, no buts, no whats, no maybes. You can fuck off with your bullshit, man. Go take that somewhere else. Take that to the people in the world. Because we ain't here. The scriptures say a man. Oh shit, what is it? No man that warreth entangle himself with the affairs of this life. Let me get that one. This is 2 Timothy 2 and verse 4. Now I'm going to come back to 2 John 1 again. But let me jump to 2 Timothy 2 and verse 4. Right. This is 2 Timothy 2 and verse 4. It says, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. Yeah? So we're not supposed to be getting into this, pally friendship world bullshit that this guy's trying to come with. Because funny enough, what I was meditating on is that's the same way that Vocab Malone went up to the apostles that time, where he's going up to the camp and talking all kinds of shit, trying to catch the apostles out and all this kind of stuff. And afterwards he was like, we're going to get something to eat. Would you guys like to come with us to the apostles? And the apostles said no. And rightfully so, because that man, Vocab Malone, he's set up to try and be an agent to cause discord and contention with us true Israelites. And then afterwards, in the next breath, he's like, do you want to go out we're going to get something to eat. Do you want to come with us? That's the kind of thing that someone who's simple might be like, he's a really nice guy. Yeah, I'll go and chill with him. But all the while, this guy's thinking about how he's gonna throw you into a ditch and set you up and all this kind of shit. These are the people that you need to watch the most, man. Because at the end of the day, these people, they're the ones who won't stab you in the front. They're the ones who like get real close to you so they can drive the knife into your back even deeper when they get the opportunity. Man, these people piss me off, man. Because at the end of the day, if someone comes up and they're direct about what they're doing, it's one thing. But when someone's trying to be a snake, that's even worse, man. And we're supposed to be circumspect in this truth, Wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So these people ain't slick. While they think they may be slick, they ain't slick, man. We see them, man. We see them. So where am I going back to? Where we go. Yeah, 2 John 1 and 9, back to there. Yeah. So where he was back to before, it says, for many, 2 John 1 and 7. Now let me start from 6 again, back to the start. And this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment, that as ye have heard from the beginning, you should walk in it. For many deceivers are entered into the world, who confess not that Yahushua HaMashiach is come in the flesh. This is a deceiver and an antichrist. Look to yourselves that we lose not those things for which we have wrought, but that we receive a full reward. Whosoever transgresseth and abideth not in the doctrine of Hamashiach, hath not God. He that abideth in the doctrine of Hamashiach, he hath both Father and the Son. Now here's the point. Verse 10. If there come any unto you, and bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. Now this guy was coming up trying to be your pally in his serpentine subtlety. And as I say, the elders dealt with him respectfully, because at the end of the day, they'd already made the points. This guy wasn't listening, and they were like, well, you got to let this guy go because he ain't getting it. just let him go about his way. But the way he was trying to do it was like, oh yeah, maybe I'll come back and maybe afterwards we can come back and, I'll take you to my friend's place and we'll go for ice cream and all this kind of shit. Well, the scriptures clearly talk against that. It says, verse 10, 2 John 1 and 10, if there come any unto you and bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. For he that biddeth him Godspeed is a partaker of his evil deeds. Now, this is heavy scriptures here. Let me read that again. From verse 9, whosoever transgresseth and abideth not in the doctrine of Hamashiach hath not the Most High. He that abideth in the doctrine of Hamashiach, he hath both the Father and the Son. If there come any unto you and bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. For he that biddeth him Godspeed is a partaker of his evil deeds. So that's a cold cut on that. And this is why you got to watch these people, man, because they come up with such craftiness where you think, oh, well, he was a decent guy. No, you weren't a decent guy. He was an antichrist, man. The scriptures line him up and cut him down, hew him down like a fucking tree, man. So I'm going to get some other precepts. Yeah, and this is how these people come up. It's the same way that Satan tried to come up to Yahushua when he was on his fast. So let's get that in Matthew the 4th chapter. Because Satan was trying to get Yahushua to go off, yeah? And this is the point I'm trying to make, that these guys, or women, or whoever, when they come up to the camp, they're not always coming up in sincerity. They're not always coming there to sincerely learn of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua and the truth. They're coming there to try and subvert the truth and get you to go off or to throw you into a ditch. That's their whole thing, and that's wickedness, man. But, we are as sheep among wolves. We've got to be careful now. Let me read this. This is Matthew 4 and 1. Then was Yahushua led up in the spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he afterward was an hungered. So Yahushua was a bit weak because he'd just gone through this fast and he was hungry. So the Satan came up to him when he was at his weakest. And the tempter came to him and said, if thou be the Son of the Most High, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High. So Yahushua answered Satan with the scriptures. Now, this is the funny thing, man. A lot of Christians believe that Satan is his own agent working on his own agenda. But the fact of the matter is that Satan is actually a righteous angel that does the will of the Most High, but on the left-hand side. Satan works for the Most High. That can be proven in the book of Job, in the 1st chapter. When the sons of God came to present themselves, Satan came among them. And the Most High commanded Satan that he could do anything that he wanted to Job, but he couldn't take Job's life. Now, if Satan was an adversary to the Most High, he'd have been able to take Job's life. But Satan has to follow the commandments of Yahweh, just like everything else in existence has to follow the commandments of Yahweh because he is the Most High. Yeah? So, verse 5. And the devil take him up to a holy city and set him up on the pinnacle of the temple. And he saith unto them, if thou be the Son of the Most High, cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest that thou at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. And Yahushua said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy power. Now again, this is how this guy came up to the camp yesterday. He thought he was slick, man, trying to bring out a precept on how the Bible contradicts itself by saying that Jacob wrestled with God. Jacob didn't wrestle with God. We brought that out yesterday. The word there in the Hebrew is Elohim, which means angel or God-like one, but not Yahweh himself. Jacob wrestled with an angel, fact. And this guy was trying to say that, but your own book contradicts itself. So he was coming up in the same spirit that Satan was coming up in when he's trying to get Yahushua to go off. You know what, man? It's too deep. It's too deep when you really get into what's going on. You there's so many depths and facets to even the smallest exchanges, man. When you got your eyes open and you're aware of what's going on, if the Most High is open to you up to what's going on in the spirit, you see these things, man. So let's keep going. It says, verse 8, Matthew 4 and 8. Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and sheweth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and saith unto him, all these things will I give thee, if thou fall down and worship me. And Yahushua saith unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy power, and him only shalt thou serve. And the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. So, if the scriptures say, resist the devil and he will flee from thee. Let's get that, if I can find it. Yeah, this is James verse 4 and 7. And it's good because I want to go into James, the 4th chapter. This is the book of James, chapter 4 and verse 7. And it says, submit yourselves therefore. Hang on. Yeah. Submit yourselves therefore to the Most High. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. Draw nigh unto the Most High and he will draw nigh unto you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. Be afflicted and mourn and weep, and let your laughter be turned into mourning and your joy into heaviness. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Most High, and he will lift you up. Now, jumping up to James 4 and 4, in relation to that man saying that he doubt he'll ever come back again, but let's just say he was to come back again and invite us out for ice cream or some nonsense, like we got time for that shit. This is James 4 and 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of the Most High. Let me read that again. James 4 verse 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of the Most High. So we can't have no fellowship with you. Just the same way we can't hold unity camps with other Israelite groups that teach other doctrines. Because how are you going to be sitting there on one side of the table across from the next man who believes in, say, I don't know, Rastafarianism, or you're sitting across the table from another guy who's a Christian or another guy who's a Muslim? We can't have no unity because there is no unity. Because really, if you believed in what you believe in, you would have to say, no, I can't sit with this person because can two walk together lest they be agreed? Let's get that one. Amos 3 verse 3. It says, can two walk together except they be agreed? Yeah. Can two walk together except they be agreed? I guess that's the whole point. You can't. You can't have no fellowship with these people. Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, rather reprove them. But the point of this lesson was basically to be vigilant, man, because this guy in many ways accomplished his agenda yesterday. Because the agenda isn't to edify or to learn or whatever, it's just to try and get someone to go off. And if he's done that as a demon, he's done his part. Let me get never trust thine enemy. It's in Sirach, the 12th chapter. But it's a learning curve, It's all a learning curve. Never trust, Sirach 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not altogether been wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand. So we ain't going out to ice cream with you, bro. Actually, you're not a bro. We're not going out to for ice cream with you, dude. Sirach 12:12. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in sins, who will pity? For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips. Now this is exactly what this guy was doing yesterday, man. Sirach 12:16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. He will shake his head and clap his hands and will whisper much and change his countenance. So that's the lesson, man. Lord willing, it was edifying with that. Giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Bahashem HaKadosh, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, that will well. Shalom to you, sincere Akim, that be watching, learning, and teaching this truth. And until the next lesson, Lord willing, I say Shalom.